Hello everybody, welcome back with another video. It's been a while, it's been 8 days or maybe 9. Yeah, sorry, yet again. And I've been very busy with school lately, and I promised you guys so much. And if you're wondering where's the vlog is still in the works, okay? It's true, I am honest, it's actually saved in my laptop, but I don't have time to record the other stuff because it's quite a long video. It's not really that long, but it's taking me a while to edit the video, and that's the reason why I'm making this video, so that you guys won't get bored, you know, knowing that I have 391 subscribers now. Thank you everybody, thank you very much. And that's insane for me. Thank you. Anyway, today we're coming back to Extra History. It's been a while since we've reacted to their channel, and this is World War I, the Seminal Tragedy, the Concert of Europe. Extra History number 1. It's been a while since we reacted to Extra History's videos, and this is about World War I, and we'll see. Okay, we'll just see. And the Concert of Europe, I don't know, something that reminds me of what you call that, the powder cake of Europe, you know, the Balkans. That's where mostly the conflict starts. It's in the part of the Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, those parts of Europe. Anyway, this is Extra History, and it's been a while since we reacted to their channel. It's been like 4 or 5 months or 6. It's been a while, okay? And the reason why I'm reacting to Extra History, okay, just starting our video, is because I've been watching, this channel has been very influenced by another channel, what we called Vlogging Through History. And I've seen his series, not really about World War I, like Extra History, but about Peter the Great. And I liked the video. Obviously it's because it's history, and he influenced me to make this channel into history based. And when I saw History made a video about World War I, I was like, you know what, I'll make a video, like a series about this. This is actually 4 parts, surprisingly. It's not really that long, but it's 4 parts. It's good. And next part will be, the third part of our Voices of the Past, 5 most disastrous accounts of first contact, will be the next video, and after that will be the 4th part, the final part. And yeah, anyway, we're gonna continue. It's been 3 minutes, so yeah, hold on a minute, I'm gonna check the audio. Oh god, it's very low. There we go.
Human history is equal parts heroism, tragedy, and misunderstanding. Very rarely have we displayed all 3 to such a degree as in the First World War. This war is called the Seminal Catastrophe.
That kind of looks like, over there was, that kind of looks like Otto von Bismarck over here. That looks like Otto von Bismarck, and just average European mustaches, like the Wilhelm. There we go, the Wilhelm mustaches. Is it called Wilhelm mustaches? I don't know. Seminal catastrophe, having possibility of future development, highly original and influencing the development of future events. A seminal artist. There we go.
Of the 20th century, because without it there is no Stalin and no Hitler. No.
Makes sense. Another good point, because without World War I, these two will not. But we still wouldn't exist. For me, okay. For me, comment down below what you think about this. But for me, yeah, there will be no. But they will. The Nazi Party will struggle in the election, because remember, the Nazi Party were elected. They didn't take the leadership by just revolution. They got elected. So yeah. And Joseph Stalin, he was appointed as a secretary, where I forgot a lot of things, so we might actually make a video about, or let's say react to a video about Joseph Stalin. Anyway, this is 4 minutes, let's go.
No fascism or World War II. Without it, we don't have a Cold War that leads us to the very brink of annihilation, nor do we see the Middle East carved up by old men, still bitter from 4 years of meaningless, self-inflicted...
Yeah, that's Germany over there. That looks like it's that's over in the left. The farther left is America. The middle looks like America. That American, like Uncle Sam. I forgot Uncle Sam. The middle looks like it's who's this again? Winston Churchill. Kind of looks like him. I don't know. And in the right, he looks like, is he no, it's not, he looks like Lenin. For me, and that kind of looks like who was that gentleman? Not, is it Heisenberg? Hindenburg. He looks like Hindenburg, or just a German soldier. I don't know. Anyway, let's
catastrophe. Without this war, we probably don't have 9/11 or the turmoil in the Middle East today.
Oh.
This war ushered in the modern age, born in a crucible of gunpowder and toxic smoke and the blood of 10 million men. Blood spilt in war from the fields of France to the waters off America, from the Russian frontier to the sands of the Middle East, from the Chinese mainland to the deepest parts of the sea. This war broke empires. It shattered the past and forced us to give up our last ties to our medieval understanding. When the smoke cleared and a stunned world climbed out of its trenches, we lived in a new age, with new powers, new ideas, and new terrors. It is the defining event of the 20th century. It is the Great War. But it's not the war itself that we're here to talk about today. Hopefully, over the course of this show, a bit at a time, we'll slowly, story by story, cover the sprawling events of this turning point in history. But today we are focused on the events that led to this war. For if the war itself is the seminal catastrophe of the 20th century, then the weeks before the war are its seminal tragedy.
Was it called July Crisis? Yeah, there was this we called July Crisis. It is before the start of World War One, and actually, I wanted to learn more about the things the events that happened before World War One starts, the Great War started, and it's because if you're wondering, even if something changes, there's still gonna be a world war. Still gonna be world war because there was wars before World War One that made the situation, or let's say something that made it, and like for example, some border disputes, some alliances, and a lot of things. So anyway, let's go.
In these next few episodes, we'll focus on the very human, very personal stories that led Europe to consume itself, to ignite itself in one suicidal blaze from which it still hasn't recovered, because it is a tragedy of the highest order. It's like a play, a Greek epic, a story so grand we would think it must be fiction if the scars of the war couldn't still be seen on the fields of France.
I actually saw the video, a video like the black and white video of that explosion. Is that the whole of the explosion? It was an, hold on, I'll try to search it up. I'll try to put it up in this video, like just a short clip of it. But I think this is the crater from that bomb. I think
it's Shakespeare living out before us. It begins with the death of a prince and his lady, and ends in mass slaughter the likes of which the world has never seen. So let's set the stage.
Yeah, and after the killing of Franz Ferdinand, it's not really after he got killed, Austria-Hungary just straight up declared war that quick. They sent like a memorandum, right? Yeah, memorandum, or I forgot what word we can use about that. But there was still kind of a short crisis about that. But after like some failed negotiation, now that's where the Austro-Hungarians declare war on Serbia. Anyway, that's just my knowledge of it. Just comment down below anything that I was wrong about, because first of all, I'm a history learner, not a historian. Let's go. History learner.
Oh, I'm just so incredibly epic. No one can compare. Oh, really? Or are you?
Okay, let's go.
For 100 years, Europe has been at peace. There have been wars, sure, but they were minor wars. Wars on the periphery. Wars without many of the great powers involved. Not since Napoleon did the great states of Europe vie in bloody battle. For
The
after the
Napoleonic
ravages of the
Wars.
Napoleonic Wars, the statesmen of Europe had come together to try to stop such a catastrophe from ever happening again. They created a system called the Concert of Europe, so that whenever war seemed perilously close, the nations of Europe would come together in a conference, and instead come to a settlement that all parties would abide by. But Europe has changed since those weary of the Napoleonic conflicts first came together to create the Great Concert. The first and most major change was the formation of Germany. At the time our story begins, it's important to remember Germany as a nation was only 40 years old. It's a young nation, a strong one, a nation looking to claim its own. But to say that Germany was a strong nation is to undersell the magnitude of its creation. I mean to say that the birth of Germany was something perhaps unique in the history of the world. For overnight, with the signing of a few papers, the middle of Europe was transformed from 1,000 tiny squabbling states to the greatest land power the world had ever known. In one
Like the Kingdom of Prussia, if you didn't know, there was this man called Otto von Bismarck, who unified the country, made it the German Empire. Was because before Germany was formed, there was this small German states, Bohemia, Prussia, and others, and because of just not really just what. Correct me if I'm wrong. But for me, this one man called Otto von Bismarck unified and made Germany, like Empire of Germany. There we go. The Empire of Germany. It's not really the modern day Germany, but it's the Empire. Anyway, let's go.
night, suddenly the most powerful nations of Europe, Russia, France, Austria-Hungary, and England, were not the most powerful nations in Europe any longer. Overnight, in the very heart of Europe, had been created a nation with more manpower, natural resources, and economic strength than any other nation in the world except perhaps for Great Britain. Moreover, this creation was cemented in the defeat of France, which at the time was considered the strongest land power in Europe. And at the time of our story, that defeat and its memory still run deep. And now, look at the world from the perspective of that powerful new German nation. Here they are, arguably the most powerful country in the world, and yet they see themselves being denied all the rights of a great world power. Britain and France held territories across the globe. Even the Netherlands, a nation which the might of the new Germany could wipe off the face of the earth in a week, had colonies from Asia all the way to Africa. But Germany, for all of their strength, had been denied those possessions simply because their nation was young. Imagine what this does to the balance of power. Imagine what this does to the geopolitical scene. Think what would happen today if, say, the entire EU declared themselves a single nation with a single economy, a single military, and a single foreign policy. Imagine if they said that they wanted greater access to Middle Eastern oil, and Russia and the United States said, no, we were here first. Imagine now if representatives from Russia and the United States smiled and told this young nation that they'd be happy to continue to sell them oil at an inflated price, though. This was the position Germany found itself in. How was the concert of Europe?
Wow, that's a good point. Knowing that you're still a new nation, and knowing that if you have more power, the balance of power in this region will lean towards you. So yeah, there's this balance thing of power, and that's why there was this type of pros and cons, like negatives. Not really pros and cons. You know what word we can use for this one? Let's say, just to balance it out. The power, just to balance it out. Because if you get too strong, we're gonna try to maintain you. We're gonna try to control you. And like that. That was Germany. Germany felt like when they formed. But comment down below anything more information, please. I want them. Anyway, let's go.
A system built around a balance of power and compromise to last in these circumstances.
There we go.
And yet, for 40 years, it did. And this brings us to the second major change since the Napoleonic Wars. The men. The 70 years after those wars was a time of giants. Men who...
There we go. That looks like Otto von Bismarck. Is that Rasputin? Okay.
towered over the world stage.
That looks like, Kaiser Wilhelm II. Anyway.
Time and again here, Europe rolled well on the dice of history and came up with leaders who were capable of navigating an increasingly complex and increasingly modern geopolitical world. In the 1800s, the Russians saw men like Alexander II, who understood that Russia needed to modernize to survive. He began dismantling serfdom, reformed judicial practices, encouraged universities, and pursued peace, understanding that Russia was in no position to fight the major European powers.
The Empire of Russia.
Like all the men here, this guy was not all chuckles and sunshine. Alexander II brutally suppressed revolutionaries and separatists in the territories Russia controlled. Still, he was effective, without question. By 1900, we have in Russia Nicholas II, a deeply reactionary, deeply conservative man, who history records as being of middle
Nicholas II, not really a good leader. Oof. Anyway, I'm not saying, but let's just go.
intellect with neither the training nor the inclination to properly rule.
Yeah.
His reign is
Lack
a
of
catalog of
training,
embarrassing mismanagement. This is the man who fell under the sway
Yeah.
of the mystic Rasputin. This is a man who couldn't even coordinate his own coronation. A man who let 1,300 people die in a human stampede on the day he was crowned because
Yeah, it was like, what you call that? Yeah, he started like a massive stampede. He just announced of like, was it free bread or something?
I kid you not, there was not enough beer and pretzels. And
like that. You know what? Yeah.
this is the man who held a ball that day anyway, because, hey, why let a few hundred deaths spoil your day? And this is the man who will, in the end, hold the fate of the world in his hands. And by
There we go.
Back when I started out being online, I was kinda worried about how to play.
There we go. We're gonna talk
And by
about.
this-
We're now gonna talk about Austria-Hungary. Let's go.
point in Austria, we have as emperor an 84-year-old
There we go. Otto von Austria. Okay. Otto Bismarck. Or let's say Otto von Bismarck. Ooh, I love that man. You know what? I found a series made by Extra History about Otto von Bismarck. I'm going to react to it very soon. Okay, it's very soon. Anyway, let's go.
man 2 years away from his death and battered by the weight of the life he's led. His foreign minister, Berthold, is neither a bad man nor a stupid man, but he is a weak and vacillating man at a time when European politics are all about strength. And Germany? Germany, during the 20 years following its creation, had unquestionably one of the greatest diplomats the world has ever seen. Otto von Bismarck.
There we go.
This is a man of
Yeah,
great
he's good at diplomacy, and he's a very intelligent person. He's a very genius man, and in every situation he always has a plan. Let's go.
ability and great appetites. A man known to smoke 3 cigars at once and down a bottle of champagne at breakfast. A man who probably deserves an entire episode just to himself, but for our purposes, he is the man who held the concert of Europe together under the incredible strain of the creation of the new German state.
Actually, one thing I learned a story about Otto von Bismarck. In like this constitution. I forgot what you call that, but it was before the unification of Germany. It was still like part of it was still in Prussia, where Austria has like a seat on like a constitution thing inside Germany, and where Otto von Bismarck was sitting next to an Austrian official, where an Austrian official pull out his cigar and he smoked inside the convention thing. I forgot what you call that convention. And because smoking inside of that place was mostly towards the Austrians only. The Austrians officials, like the diplomats, but just Austrians, they allowed to smoke. But when Otto von Bismarck saw them smoke, he pulled out his own cigar and he started smoking too, and people were shocked by that. And yeah, it was a story that I learned, and it was like insane. I like that. Anyway, let's go.
His life's work was to ensure that
The
France
Kaiser.
and Russia never allied, so that Germany would never be surrounded. This was his nightmare, his greatest fear. And in this, like in many things, he turned out to be right. He famously said that the great European conflagration would come from some damn fool thing in the Balkans, and he
There we
warned Kaiser
go.
Wilhelm II that
The
with
powder cake of Europe in the Balkans. Powder cake or patty cake? I don't forget. The powder cake of Europe, the Balkans. Anyway, I'm sorry. If you live in the Balkans or in that part of Europe, I'm very, very sorry. I'm just laughing. Anyway, let's go.
within 20 years, his bellicose policies would destroy the Kaiser Reich, and he was correct almost to the day. But he was fired by Kaiser Wilhelm II, who has
I heard about that. Otto von Bismarck predicted World War One, and it was insane. It was just Yeah, he was off like 4 months, but jeez, it was just insane.
Too much historical baggage to get an accurate view of. Suffice it to say that the Kaiser often ends up with a reputation for feeling inadequate. Having been born with a withered arm and grown up hounded by his mother, he came to believe that he had to prove he was masculine, and so set out to break with Bismarck's policies and show that he was his own man by abandoning the German alliance with Russia and moving Germany towards a much more expansionist stance. He was known for being brash and impulsive, with little tact, crumbling the carefully balanced alliances that had for so long kept the concert of Europe in place. Now to all this, we have to add one last piece to the stage. Fear. The fear of the dying empires. The fear of those once great nations that now so clearly saw the shadow of death approaching them from behind.
That makes sense, because in this part of our history, there's still empires that were still there from that was formed maybe 100 or 300 years ago. Like, for not really 300 years ago, but it was formed a long time ago. For example, Austria-Hungary, for example, the Ottoman Empire, and heck, even the Russian Empire. This was like their last breath, let's say. Yeah, maybe let's just call it last breath. It's been, because they were getting old, and their policies is not really getting maintained, like in the getting certain, like, for example, like in a the same as the other new nations, and yeah, they're starting to crumble. Anyway, let's go.
The Ottoman Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the Russian Empire. The Ottoman Empire was long known as the sick man of Europe.
There we go. The sick man of Europe. Ottoman Empire. Like, see, look, it's not really, yeah, look, it's just 1820. They're starting to collapse.
Line had been long and slow, with the surrounding nations taking bites out of its carcass as it slowly died. The Austro-Hungarian Empire looked at the fate of the Ottomans and saw shadows of what was to come. They feared they'd be like the Ottomans, dismantled, taken apart piece by piece until they were too weak to fight back. They had once been the most powerful state in Europe, but they ruled over many nations and many peoples, and over the 19th century those peoples had asserted themselves, crying out for their own nations, crying out to be free, to, as people, decide their own fate. And so, through the 19th century, the Austro-Hungarian Empire saw its territory chipped away, as the other great nations of the concert of Europe ruled in their conferences that those people had a right to be free. And with each loss, those peoples that the Austro-Hungarian Empire still maintained control of agitated for their own freedom to a greater and greater extent, causing unrest that rocked the empire to its very core. And lastly, we have the Russians. The Russian Tsars ruled the largest country in the world, but like the Ottomans, their military, economy, and infrastructure were woefully behind the times. And in 1905, when the Russians lost a war with the Japanese, the first time a European power had lost a war to an Asian one in modern history, their weakness became eminently clear to the world.
The Russian Empire was stuck in the past. Let's just say it very quick. You know what? Let's go.
World. This loss caused a revolution that forced the Tsar to accept a parliament and a constitutional monarchy. But it wasn't in the nature of Alexander II to accept a parliament, and he rebelled against these constraints, leaving his country precariously perched on the verge of revolution. So with a new superpower in the midst of Europe, fear driving crumbling empires to irrational and desperate decisions, and a group of leaders simply not equal to their forebearers at the task of guiding the ships of state, the players are all in place. The stage is set, and the curtain begins to rise on the war to end all wars. Join us next time for an improbable assassination, the death of a prince, and a sandwich which changed history.
A sandwich. Okay, so that was a fantastic episode. That was part 1 of World War I, the Seminal Tragedy, the Concert of Europe. So if you enjoyed the episode, like and subscribe. Check out Extra Histories channel in the description down below. Check out the video in the description down below. And yes, folks, this is going to be the end. Like and subscribe. And next video, maybe we're gonna try to post the 2 last episodes, of the 5 most disastrous accounts of first contact in history. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.